Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Mike Norvell in Florida State. It feels like there are not a lot of people across the country that are giving Florida State a chance Sunday night. And look, I'll be the first one to put my hand up and say I also took Miami to go on the road and get the job done. You make no mistake about it. Florida State is more than capable of winning this football game late Saturday night. Here's what I'll say about this matchup, specifically about Florida State. I don't give a damn who Florida State's playing. Like their raw point scoring ability, their ability to be explosive, throwing the football and running the football, they going to have a chance to win every single game that's on their schedule. I think there is a strong argument you could make that Miami looks to be the best team in the country. Florida State still has a chance to win this football game, especially with this football game being at home. Now, what it's going to come down to, at least the way I look at it, is look, there are plenty of matchups that favor Miami in this game. I think to the Florida State fans that follow this sport pretty closely, you probably agree with that statement. There are certain matchups that favor Florida State as well. How well does Florida State lean into those matchups? That's going to be the storyline. And that's what makes this game so freaking fun. Like, number one, rivalry game. That's what college football is about. But number two, the matchups that you're going to see specifically from a personnel standpoint, really exciting as well. Before we get into it, as always, Florida State fans, but hey, also Miami fans. I hope, number one, you enjoy this episode, even though we're talking about Florida State winning this football game at home. Please let it fly in the comment section. A lot of different takes, a lot of different matchups that you can highlight in this game. Let it rip down below. Appreciate both fan bases for the amount of support they've shown the boys, really, not only the last week, but really the last couple of years. So appreciate you guys. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Without further ado, let's get into it. Really big storyline right off the bat. Gus Malzahn. Can he get in his bag early? I think Gus Malzahn is not only one of the best offensive coordinators that we've seen thus far in 2025, but specifically when it comes to that first drive, the first 10 plays that you have scripted, the first 10 plays that you really like, the first 10 plays that you think you can go down and score a touchdown on. There are not many better offensive coordinators than Gus Malzahn. Feels really damn big in this football game. If you're Mike Norvell in Florida State, when you have that coin toss, and if you win that coin toss, normally you're deferring. Say, hey, we'll take ball in the second half. I'm looking at this match and say, I think you take the football and say, hey, can we go down and get a 7-point lead early in this game? Because there are two things that we need to talk about. Number one, Miami has not been on the road yet. But number two, they also haven't been trailing in a single football game yet. I'm looking at that. That speaks to how dominant Miami's been as a team the first month of the season. They haven't been on the road. They haven't faced a deficit. If you're Mike Norvell in Florida State, number one, you got a lot of confidence in your offense. It is purely one of the best offenses that we see in the country, but you specifically have a lot of confidence with those first two drives of the football game. If you're Mike Norvell, you're saying, hey, we'll take ball. We have a lot of confidence that we can go down and score a touchdown on this first drive. And if you do that, number one, Miami starts feeling a little bit of pressure. They're down for the first time in a football game all year. Now they're on the road with a crowd that's really damn engaged. That first drive for Florida State feels really dang big in this football game. And if you're a Florida State fan, you have a lot of confidence because you have a damn good offensive coordinator that's going to script out that first drive. Number two, tempo on offense. Why is this so important? We've been talking about it all week long. Probably the biggest storyline in this game, like purely how this game is played. Miami wants to lean on the run game. They want to lean on their defense, and they want to slow this football game down. They don't want a ton of drives in this game. Florida State wants the exact opposite. They want as many drives as possible in this football game. They want as many plays as they can get on the offensive side of the football. Now, why is it so critical in this one? Number one, because Florida State's at their best when they're using their tempo. But number two, and maybe the last remaining question you have about Miami is the depth on the defensive line. This is one of, if not the best defensive lines that you see in all of college football. But it's not exactly really deep. specifically in the middle of that defensive line. To the Miami fans who've been rocking with the boys all summer long, this was the biggest question mark we had. Ahmad Moten's been awesome. David Blay's been really, really good. Justin Scott has been good as a year two player too. The problem is those are really only the three guys that Miami has played meaningful snaps with in the middle of that defensive line. Heck, you could have the same conversation out there on the edge. Ruben Bain played every single snap 2 weeks ago against Florida. Miami does not rotate their defensive line very much. Now, they haven't really needed to because they've been so good staying on the field on offense. They are top 3 in the country in time of possession, so their defense doesn't have to play a ton of snaps every single game. If you're Florida State, can we make you play a little bit more? Can we force you to rotate more bodies on the defensive line than Miami wants to? Or if they don't want to rotate, can you make a guy like Ahmad Moten play 60 snaps in this football game and say, hey, Ahmad Moten, you've been damn good all year. How good are you when you have to play 60 snaps at night in Tallahassee in early October? That's another question that I have. So tempo is big for two different reasons. Number one, because Florida State likes to run tempo and they're at their best when they're running fast. But number two, can you, for lack of better terms, wear out this Miami defensive line? The best way to take a little bit of bite out of this Miami Hurricanes front that has been dominant all year, say, hey, you're going to have to play a little bit more than you're used to playing to start the season. It's a really big storyline. How much does Ahmad Moten, how much does Ruben Bain, how much does David Blay need to play in this football game? If you're Gus Malzahn, you want to make them play a lot more football than they're used to playing over the first couple of games of the 2025 year. Really big storyline because I don't know. I mean, that fourth defensive lineman or interior defensive lineman that Miami would rotate in as it sits right now is probably Donta Simpson, who's only played 29 snaps. Didn't play a snap against Notre Dame, did not play a snap against Florida. We'll see if Florida State can stay out on the football field and force this defensive line to play more than they've had to over the last couple of weeks. Last one on offense, team speed. Miami's, Mo Torre, the transfer from Rutgers at linebacker. Jacoby Thomas, the transfer from Tennessee at safety. We had some question marks about just how good they were going to be. Mo Torre, more about health. Jacoby Thomas just weren't sure how good a football player he was. Look, both of those cats have answered the bell in big-time ways. You probably still have question marks about what their sideline-to-sideline speed and ability is. If you're Florida State, that might be one of the best strengths you have. Like, hey, you look at a guy like Mekhi Danzy taking those end arounds. You take a look at a guy like Jalen Lucas, whether it's an end around, whether he's coming out of the backfield. Can you test the team speed of this Miami Hurricanes defense, specifically at the second and third level, specifically with a guy like Mo Torre, who, look, Mo Torre, really, really good when it comes to fitting the run inside the tackles, has been really good working on the perimeter too, going sideline to sideline. Well, hey, have you had to run with a guy like Jalen Lucas or Mekhi Danzy? You probably want to test that team speed on the perimeter. Miami's ability to run, chase, and tackle some of the faster players in all of college football. Florida State's been doing a really good job getting the edge on some defenses this year. You might want to try to do that because you look at it and say, do you really just want to run right at the teeth of this Miami Hurricanes defense? I don't know. It's kind of where they're strongest, right? David Blay's been a hammer. Mo Torre is really good at fitting the run. Ruben Bain's obviously been really good. Do you want to try to work the outside a little bit? Say, hey, we're going to make you run, chase, and tackle us. That could be a matchup that favors Florida State. Lastly, as much eye candy, as much pre-snap motion, you're still trying to test Miami's ability to communicate in the back end, right? It's been really damn good. It's been better than any of us expected. You still want to make sure that's really dang good, especially as they're going on the road. Now, on the defensive side of the football, there's one conversation you have to have, and that is stopping the run and getting after Carson Beck, right? Because if you can't do either of those two, you're probably not going to win this football game, or at the very least, you're not going to get many stops. Carson Beck is very, very good when he's clean in the pocket. And when Miami can lean on that run game, they have the ability to just slow this game down, put together those 12-play drives that go 7 minutes and end up with a touchdown. You cannot afford to have those kind of drives. So if you're Florida State, the biggest concern you have about this football team after that Virginia game is, number one, the pass rush. You just can't really affect the quarterback with your front four right now. And that has to do with what Mike Norvell has not done over the last couple of years. And he just hasn't recruited those guys on the defensive line very well. They haven't been developed very well. You don't really see a ton of big time difference makers on that Florida State front. If you're Tony White, you probably go into this game assuming, hey, if we couldn't really impact Virginia with our front four, we're probably not going to impact Miami all that well with our front four, because I think Miami's got the best offensive line in the country, specifically when it comes to pass protection. You got to blitz. Well, look at the numbers. Carson Beck, when he's not blitzed, he's an 80% completion percentage guy. When he is blitzed, number drops to 62%. You're scheming it up. I mean, you're dying on your sort of, we are going to get after Carson Beck and try to impact him. If we give up some big plays on the outside, that's okay. Look, a 3-play, 75-yard drive for Miami, that's better than them just going 12 plays for 6 minutes and scoring a touchdown, right? You want, if the Miami's going to score, let them hit the explosives, but don't just let Miami go right down the field and run the football and score on a 12-play drive. Number two, heavy boxes. Very similar conversation. You have to allocate bodies to stop this Miami Hurricanes rushing attack. It's not even a shot at Florida State as much as you got to give a ton of respect to what Miami and Mario Cristobal has built up front. There are not many teams across the country that can stop Miami running the football with the light box. Earl Little, he's one of the biggest X factors. Earl Little needs to live around the line of scrimmage fitting the run. That's what he does best. I know he didn't have a great game against Virginia, but he's been a hammer stopping the run so far. He's got to be huge in this game, supporting the run, because I don't think Florida State has the bodies quite yet to hold up against this Miami ground attack with a light box. You're loading the box. You're putting your defensive backs on island. Say, hey, can you take away these Miami pass catchers, because we need to allocate as many hats as we can to stop Miami running the football. A couple of X factors I want to talk about too. Number one, the crowd. We talked about this a little bit Sunday. For whatever reason, like, Miami's got an experienced offensive line, experienced quarterback, but for whatever reason, there's been some pre-snap penalties. They had the pre-snap penalty. All those pre-snap penalties been at home. If you're Florida State, this crowd has to be a factor. I mean, go look at how the crowd was for Penn State against Oregon. I know Penn State did not win that game, but they were able to draw some really big false start penalties and some big moments. Kept that football team. I mean, the crowd legitimately impacted that football game. I think you need that. If you're a Florida State fan going to this game, got to be loud all 4 quarters. See how many pre-snap penalties you can take, because that's what Miami wants to do. They want to run the football, get to 2nd and 5. They want to run the football, get to 3rd and 1, move the chains. If you can draw a pre-snap penalty, turn that 3rd and 2 into a 3rd and 7, and then get off the field, it's a really big deal. Those could be drive-killing penalties that the Florida State crowd can force. Number 2, Deuce Robinson. You feel like you need some of those plays, right? And I look at Deuce Robinson and say, hey, he's the guy that can change games with his ability to go up and create explosive plays. Lastly is probably the competitive character that Florida State has. Look, it's easy to feel good about your locker room when you're winning football games. We saw last year when Florida State started to lose, that snowball went down the hill pretty damn fast. How does this team get off the mat? How do they compete in this football game coming off a loss? It's a big question mark too. Going to be a really, really fun game. Again, my pick is Miami, because I think they're a little bit more complete. I think they're the better line of scrimmage team. They got a quarterback I trust in these kind of games. But I will say this, there are some things that favor Florida State. And if Florida State can get this game played the way they want it to be played, get it a little bit more of a tempo shootout game, that's where Florida State wants to live. And if they have that game looking like this, Florida State very well might win this football game. Very, very exciting. Appreciate you guys rocking with it. Hey, let it fly in the comments section Thursday morning. How are the Miami fans feeling? How are the Florida State fans feeling? Appreciate you guys, and we'll talk to y'all later.